Hey guys, this is my AR-15. I have it here at the shop. A lot of you guys have been in the shop, have seen this rifle multiple times. It's kind of like our demo gun. Basically, it's set up as a very simple rifle. It's kind of minimalist by a lot of people's standards because it doesn't have a rail forearm, it doesn't have a cappuccino maker hanging off the side. It's basically set up just to be a lightweight carbine that's all about performance, right? So basically, I have a no-name lower receiver from a couple years ago with a quality trigger group in it. It's all LWRC parts I got off my buddy that works for the company. I have a Bravo Company USA upper receiver. It's also their barrel. 1-7 twist with a permanently attached A2 flash hider, bringing out to a legal 16 inches. Fixed A2 flash hider, MOE handguard with the mag pull vertical grip. I have EOTech 552. That's been beat up overseas for the last couple years, but still going strong. Nice armor rear sight that I got off a buddy of mine at Armor. Bravo Company extended charging handle. This is Mod 3. Mil-spec buffer tube, CTR buttstock, MOE handguard, and then Blue Force gear Vickers sling, right? So a lot of people say, well, why do you have it set up this way? What I say to people is you only really need two things for a fighting weapon, right? You want an optic of some sort and you want a flashlight. If I have to choose between having a flashlight and having an optic, I will actually choose the flashlight over the optic. Just because 8% deadly force encounters in the States are going to occur at night, you need to be able to properly identify your target before you engage your target. So you want to make sure that you're shooting that gangbanger, not your drunk cousin Willie coming over at 2 o'clock to crash on yourself. Alright? One of the questions I get a lot is, why do I have my rifle set up with a 2-point sling? Why don't I use a 1-point sling? A lot of guys buy 1-point slings not really understanding what purpose it has and what it's really meant for, right? Real quick, I'll just show you. The 2-point sling is a little bit more versatile. You have the ability to cinch your sling in, and it's going to create a tight triangle between the weapon and the actual sling itself. What I mean to say is that you're not going to have a strap nylon going down the side of the weapon like you would with a 3-point sling, where it's going to get in the way of your bolt release, get in the way of you getting to your charging handle, get into your magazine. It's just it's an improved version of a 3-point, really what it is. What I like about the 2-point is that I can drive out with the weapon, and if I have to go to my secondary weapon, I can just throw it to the side, go to my pistol. If I go and take a kneeling position, I'm not going to put my muzzle in the dirt. When I bring my weapon over to the side, it's basically going to stay there. I have my hands free, I can work on stuff, I can walk around, run around, carry stuff. It's basically going to stay where I put it. Now, the alternative is that you can take it. You can't do this with all slings, but let's set mine up so you can. You take your 2-point, now you can transition over to a 1-point sling. Now the advantage with a 1-point sling is that you can go from shooting strong side, transition over, and shoot left side. That's nice if you're going around corners, or if you're sitting in the vehicle all day, you can sit with the weapon between your legs. It's nice for like CQB, for like a SWAT op application. Guy that's not going to be patrolling all day with the long gun, right? This is kind of like a throw it on and you're ready to go. It's good for weapons retention. The problem that I have with the 1-point is it starts smacking you in the crotch. If you swing it over to the left and you go to your secondary pistol, you're going to have it slowly start to creep in the front and then start smacking you in the crotch again. If you take a kneeling position, you're planting your muzzle right in the dirt. You get more obstruction, you go fire down the round. Once you go back to your long gun, you're going to blow your barrel, potentially hurt yourself, right? So both slings have their purpose, but I basically have mine set up this way just to show you guys that, hey, the merits of both systems. I personally almost exclusively use 2-point sling the rest of the time on my other guns. One other question I get is, well, what's wrong with the factory parts that come on the stock rifles? Why do I need all this high-speed gear? This is a Magpul CTR stock. It's an improvement over the MOE stock in the sense that it has a friction fit and it has a QD socket right here for that QD swivel so I can take my sling on and off. If you don't run a sling, there's no point in buying CTR. Just buy the cheaper MOE stock, right? The reason why I prefer the CTR stock, it's my favorite stock, is it's lightweight, it has a rubberized butt pad, it has a friction lock, which is nice, and also you have the adjustment on the inside. You shoot from the bench or shoot from the prone. What some guys will notice is that they'll take their support hand, go to pull the butt stock in their shoulder pocket, they'll actually engage the catch, they'll slide the stock forward while they're trying to fire. Another thing is the OEM stock is not as strong, it's made from a different grade of plastic. I've seen personally 3 different servicemen break off the toe of their buttstock. So it does the job. It's what's standard issue, but it's not good enough. There's better products out there. So if you're looking for a sling up or a buttstock upgrade, and you want to use a sling, get the CTR. If you're not going to run sling, just buy the MOE if you want to use the Magpul style. Another option you have over here is the Viltor. It's the E-mod. It's very similar to the plastic that the Magpul stuff is made out of. It's high grade. It has QD sockets made into it. It also has a larger cheek weld. It's more of an oval shape. And you also have a storage compartment down here to keep spare batteries, spare firing, pin, extractor, earplugs, whatever you want to keep in it, right? Downside is that your catch is pretty much the same as on standard M4 stock, where you can still accidentally engage it by pulling in your shoulder pocket. Another Magpul buttstock that they came out with, to be competitive with the Viltor, is this guy right here. This is the ACS stock. You have a waterproof storage compartment on both sides, and you also have another waterproof storage compartment down here. So you can see it's very similar to the Viltor, and also the curvature of the cheek piece. It's going to give you a better cheek weld over standard M4 stock over the MOE or CTR, but it's just going to add a little bit more weight and bulk to it. Otherwise, it's made out of that same high strength polymer that everything else Magpul makes. Hand grips is kind of personal preference. I don't like the A2. I don't like the little nub there that rubs on your fingers. And at the same time, I don't really like the soft rubber grips. I like the hard polymer. There's a lot more you can do with this than you can with the A2. You have a little storage part in the back. Once again, you can store batteries. You can store fire components. You can keep a couple suicide rounds in there. It's just a nice feature to have. Also, you have different plugs that will hold those different accessories that you want to keep in it, and you can order those separate. We carry them here in the shop. As far as the charge handle goes, the Bravo company is the way to go. The old days, what the service taught was that you loaded the magazine with your right hand, and then you went and did snake flight to charge the weapon that way. Last 10 years, global war and terror, we learned that that's not what you want to do. You want to keep a master firing grip on the pistol grip at all times, and you want to use your support hand to do everything. So you want to use that to load the magazine, to hit the bolt release, to charge the weapon quickly. It's a big deal with being able to really manipulate the weapon properly. What it's going to allow me to do is, even if I'm shooting support side, I do my reload or I get stoppage, I can reach over and charge it a lot easier than if I have a standard charging handle, right? Other thing about it is, if it's wintertime, here in Pennsylvania it gets pretty cold, there's snow on the ground, you're wearing mittens, you're wearing gloves, you're going to be able to charge the weapon with heavy gloves on a lot easier than if you have the OEM charging, right? Rear sight's a matter of personal preference. I think a lot of guys kind of overkill it. This Knight's Armament, I mean, I got it for free, it's a good sight. It's a limited edition USMC engraved one, but would I ever spend my own money? No. I would just go ahead and put an M-Bus by Magpul on it. Something along those lines. There's a lot of good options out there with Troy and Midwest and everybody else. Everybody's making a rear sight. Most of them out aircraft grade aluminum. If it's a backup iron sight, it's a backup iron sight. I've personally never used backup iron sights when deployed overseas. If I use a good enough quality optic, I do my part. I change the batteries, make sure it's operating properly. Then I don't have to worry about going to my secondary. It's still nice to have. It's something that you want to have on a fighting rifle, but at the same time, I would spend more money on my optic than I would on my rear sight. Optic, like I said, is the EOTech 552. It's night vision compatible. That means I can take my PVS-14 binocular, mount that behind my optic, and now I can look through my night optic and see the reticle on my day optic on the EOTech, right? If you're not going to buy a $4,000 PVS-14, don't waste the money on a 552. Just go ahead and buy a 512, which is this exact same model, just isn't NVG compatible, right? So don't think that you're going to buy a 552 and you're going to turn it on and you're going to be able to see in the dark. It doesn't work that way. MOE Handguard, super lightweight polymer. It's a great replacement for the standard oval traditional OEM handguards. It's got a little bit more texture to it. You have these rails here where you can mount a scalp mount light, you mount a short section Picatinny rail. Here what I did was I took a sling swivel and just mounted it. This isn't a Magpul thing, this is something I figured out on my own, just so I can hook up my sling where I want it to. It's going to keep your weight down, it's also going to keep the cost down. It's carbine, it's a 14.5-inch barrel. You get a 16-inch barrel gun. Don't forget, this is a service rifle, it's not a sniper rifle. I'm not a big advocate of putting like $250 Timney triggers in it, or putting $400 rails on it that are free-floated. I don't need this gun to be free-floated. This weapon's capable of shooting out to 500 yards, hitting a man-sized target all day long. That's all I really want out, and what should I expect out of it. My choice of flashlight, I'm a big fan of Surefire for the weapons lights when it comes to long guns. I actually prefer to use the TLR1 and TLR2 for handgun lights, but you can also get a TLR1 here at the shop. If you don't have a whole lot of money to spend, $300 Surefire Scout, go ahead, buy a dual purpose light. Buy one that you can take off your handgun, put on your long gun, take it off your long gun, put it back on your handgun, like the TLR1, TLR2, or even the Surefire pistol light. So the reason why I have this set up this way is because I shoot as much left-handed as I do right. You know, I shoot gun side, I shoot support side, so I can engage my flashlight with my support hand when I'm shooting right-handed. When I transition over, I can still engage my flashlight by using my support hand, which is now my right hand. Flashlighter, a lot of guys ask about flashlighters. This is just basic A2 flashlighter. A2 flashlighter came out in the 1980s when we switched from the M16A1 to the M16A2. It's still a quality piece of gear. It still does a really good job reducing flash, and it actually acts like a little bit like a compensator. The reason why I don't like compensators and brakes is that usually if you're shooting next to a guy that has a brake or a comp on it, you're going to feel it in your face. It makes the gun louder, creates a lot more pressure that's blown out to the side. It's good for the shooter, but it's not good for the teammate. So if you're ever on the firing line, you got a guy next to you shooting a brake, you're going to know what I mean. It's just going to rock your world, and you're just going to put your rifle down, wait for him to finish and leave, so you can resume your training. So a lot of thoughts put into the flashlighters. Unfortunately, a lot of guys buy the ones that look the coolest and don't exactly perform the best. If you're going to change out the A2 for a real basic flashlighter, I would suggest going with a Smith Enterprise or maybe just a basic Yankee Hill Phantom, something like that. Keep your costs down and keep the weapon effective. All in all, that's basically the layout of this weapon. Mission drives the gear. I mean, there's a time where you're going to want a free float handguard, you're going to want an A2 style buttstock or a different style buttstock. There's going to be different times where you set your weapon up for the mission that's at hand. So if I want to shoot 500 yards exclusively, I'm probably going to take my EOTech off. I'm going to take my my ACOG here, 4-power Marine Corps issue ACOG, because I'm going to be shooting extended distance. If I'm kicking indoors all day and I know I'm not going to be shooting anywhere more than 50 yards, well, maybe I'm going to put a standard red dot like an aim point or a T1 instead of the EOTech. I like the EOTech because it's the best all-around optic for close and far range. It's one of the reasons why the majority of guys in uniform are purchasing, or the units are buying them for them. You're seeing a big shift the last couple of years where, you know, for years people said EOTechs aren't as reliable as aim points. They've really done a good job of their quality control, and every day guys are going to harm's way using EOTech. So it's a common grade optic. This optic's been to Iraq 2 times. I've driven hell out of it. It's not going to break. You don't have to worry about that. So you really get what you pay for. It's worth to spend a couple extra dollars, get a quality piece of gear, put nothing but quality components on your weapon, and you're going to have a legacy gun that's going to perform for the rest of your life, and it's going to be an heirloom. It's not going to be an issue with having failures. So if it's a target gun, it's a toy gun, I mean, I still encourage people to put the best quality parts that they can. Otherwise, you know, that's about it for this weapon. That's basically all I got.
All right, thank you for your time, Nate.
No problem. Thank you.